Okay, so my lesson is based on the measuring objects. So it is a second grade standard, measure the length of the object. There, it says, measure the length of an object by selecting and using appropriate tools such as rulers, yardsticks, meter sticks, and measuring tapes. So my lesson is going to be an activity where they get to measure all kinds of things. So, all right, so I'll just jump into it and get started. Okay, so, all right, class, let's remember that our call to attention is 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. And the kids will say, 1, 2, eyes on you. So that's our call to attention. So then to start off and introduce the concept, I'm going to have 2 students come up. So I need my 2 volunteers. There we go. Here they are. And what the kids don't know is that already ahead of time, earlier, I asked these 2 specific kids to come up, and one is going to take giant steps and the other one is going to take baby steps. So that's what the rest of the class does not know. So my 2 kids will come up and I will say, okay, so I need Joe, you, my first child, to take 10 steps, and he will take 10 tiny baby steps, right? And then my second kid will take, okay, it's your turn, Lewis, and he'll take 10 steps, but he'll take 10 giant steps. So then the question I'm going to ask the students is, so they were both given the same directions and they both took 10 steps. Why aren't they standing in the same place? Okay, now think about it. Tell your neighbor. Okay, now tell me what your ideas are. Why do you think they're not in the same place? Okay, those are all really good ideas. All right, so what can we do to solve this? How can we make sure that they end up in the same place? Think about that for a second. Share your ideas with your neighbor. And let's get your ideas. What do you think? How can we make sure that when we tell them to take 10 steps, they end up at both at the exact same place? Okay, what are your ideas? And then depending on whatever their ideas are, we'll try out a couple of them to see what, the best ideas are. We'll give them a shot and see if they work. After that, I'll tell them that, so the way some people have solved this problem is they have come up with what's called a standard measurement. So what some of those measurements are is centimeters, inches, feet, yards, and miles are some of the ways that we have come up with to help people. And I'm sure that you've probably heard of some of those, but we're going to talk about those right now. So let's talk about centimeters. So this is my ruler. You all have one of these at your desk. So this is your ruler. And these little tiny ones that are really close together are centimeters. And you'll see if you look right down here at the bottom, it has a cm, which tells you this side is the centimeter side. So I want you to hold up your rulers and point to the centimeter side. Good. So that one tiny measurement right there, that tiny little bit right there, that is 1 centimeter. Okay. All right. On the other side of your ruler, we have inches. Okay. And if you look, I've written inches on that side so you know which side is inches. Good. So 1 inch on your ruler is that little tiny square right there. That's the 1 inch mark. Okay. For feet, so 12 inches, so your whole ruler is 12 inches long. That is 1 foot. So this is a 1 foot measure. Your whole ruler is 1 foot. Okay? And then, I don't actually have a yardstick. I do at school, but somehow I didn't remember to bring it home. So we're going to pretend this is my yardstick. So a yardstick is 3 feet. So it takes 3 rulers to make 1 yard. So this is 1 yard. Okay, and then for miles are usually what people use when they're driving, and miles are for long distances. So if you want to think about something that's a mile from the school, then if you go the one way, there's a yellow house down the road. That one is 1 mile from our house, and if you go, or from our school, and if you go the other direction, there's a 7-Eleven, and the 7-Eleven is just about exactly a mile from our school. Okay, so that's how far a mile would be. Okay, so we are going to measure things today. You guys are going to measure your own things. So everybody has a ruler at their table, You also, at your table, there's one yardstick and there is a tape measure, okay, at everyone's table. Okay, so also I have bins up here. Each one of you are going to get one of these bins, and I'm going to show you what we're going to measure today. We are going to measure, okay, so I have this paper. I'll tell you about that in just a second. So you are going to measure a pencil. You are going to measure an eraser. You are going to measure a highlighter. You get to measure a paper clip. You are going to measure a book. You get to measure a lizard and an index card. Okay? You're also going to measure your friend. So to measure your friend, first, the one person who's going to be measured is going to lay down on the ground. Okay, they're going to lay down on the ground. And then you can measure your friend. Just one person is going to measure them, and you can take turns measuring each other. So each person will have a turn to measure, and each person will have a turn to get measured. Okay, so you're going to lay down on the ground, and then you're going to measure your friend. Do not measure on top of your friend. You're going to measure next to your friend. Okay, so where are you going to measure your friend? Good, next to your friend. Beautiful. Okay, so in this bin, you'll also see that we have a recording sheet. This is just a piece of paper for you to write what your measurements are, and it's also got a spot over here for you to write on what measuring tool you used to measure your item, okay? So all of these are going to be in your bins for you guys to measure. Okay, so, all right. So, I'm also going to be taking turns calling you up one at a time to measure the distance from the doorway to my desk. Okay, so who knows what distance means? Good, you know what distance means? Great. Yes, so distance means it's how far something is, so how far away it is, okay? So that is what distance is. It's a unit, it's a measurement that we can take to find out how far away something is from each other. Also, length. Who knows what length means? Good, so which one is the length? Am I measuring the short side or the long side of this highlighter? Yes, so length is going to be the long side. That's going to be the length. So that's what we're measuring, is the length or the distance of things today. All right. So first, I want to show you and make sure that you know how to do this just the right way. So we're going to start with our ruler. So everybody pick up your ruler. Good, you got your ruler. Okay, I want you to show me. Oh, this is your ruler. Say ruler. Good. Okay. Now we're going to look at the inches side. So make sure you've got the side with inches. Good. Point to the inches. Say inch. Good. Show me where your inches are. Perfect. Okay, now turn it over. Good. This is the centimeter side. Point to the centimeters. Good. Show me where your first centimeter is. Show me on the number 1. Nice job. Good. Okay. So now when we measure something, we are going to use the bottom line. So let's start with inches. So put up your inches side. Good. So when you see the 1 down here at the very bottom, there's a little line. That's going to be like where 0 would be. Okay. So that's the line you're going to want to line everything up with. So I'm going to show you by measuring a pair of scissors. Okay. So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to put it on my scissors, and I'm going to line up the scissors with the bottom line of your ruler, and I'm going to look at the top of my scissors, and you can see it's going to measure 8 inches. Okay, so I'm going to go 8 inches. So on my measuring paper, I'm going to write down right here in the middle that my scissors, see where the scissors are? So how do I know where I'm going to write the measurement? Do you see how there's all these different images here? Yes, you're going to find the one that looks like what you're doing. It also has the word written next to it. So we're going to find the one that looks like scissors. We're going to write down that the scissors are 8. Good. And then we need to know 8 what? What are we measuring? What did we measure with? So you're going to circle the one that you measured with. So right here it shows that there's rulers. So that's what we used to measure it with, was the ruler, right? So you're going to circle the one that says ruler, but you'll notice there's 2 rulers. One says centimeters and one says inches. make sure you circle the one that says inches, okay? So with this one, which one did we use? Did we use the ruler, the yardstick, a measure tape? Right, we used the ruler, and we used the inches side, not the centimeter side, right? So circle that one. Good. I want to show you how we do these other things though really fast, okay? So this is the yardstick, right? And it takes 3 of these to make 1 yardstick, okay? So the yardstick is going to work the same way as the ruler does. You've got to find the little line at the end, that's the very end, to line it up if you're going to measure something, like my basket, okay? Or how long my desk is, that's an even better one. So you got to line it up with the end of the ruler. This is a yardstick, okay? Everybody say yardstick. Good. Okay, so we line it up just like we did with the ruler, and you'll notice that on the yardstick, it also has inches, okay? So it also has inches. Good. So when we're measuring with the yardstick, we can either measure in full yards or we can measure by the inches. Okay. So the other one you have on your desk is a tape measure. Now this is the tape measure that you have on your desk, and this one is for measuring fabric. So it's super flexible, so it can go around people, it can do all kinds of stuff. This is the kind of tape measure you use when you're making clothes. Okay, so we're going to use this tape measure today, and you'll notice on the tape measure it has inches, and on the other side it has centimeters, just like your ruler. Okay, so show me, or everybody say tape measure. Good, tape measure. Okay, so this one is a bit longer, and we can use it for measuring lots of different things, okay? Another measuring tool that we have today is this kind of a tape measure. It's another kind of a tape measure. This one is for construction. This one is used for measuring all kinds of things, but mostly you'll see people use it in construction, okay? So this one is made out of metal. This one is soft. This one's made out of metal. So I have this one today, and I will let you use it when you come and measure between the doorway and my desk. But it is made of metal, and so if we're not careful, it can hurt you or we can break it. It will bend really easily. So when we pull it out to measure, we want to make sure it stays nice and straight. We don't want it to twist or bend because that is not good for it, okay? So you want to keep it nice and straight. And when you want it to go back in, we're going to push this button up here, okay? This has a button. Now what the button does is it's going to bring it back in, okay? But I don't want you to bring it in fast like that, or it might twist or bend or bop you, and I don't want you to get hurt with it coming in that fast. So how you're going to bring it in when you use this tape measure is you're going to push it a little bit at a time. Push the button and let go. 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 And just do it like that until it comes all the way back. That way it won't come in too fast and you won't get hurt, okay? So you can use this to measure from the door to my desk because I want you to have a grown-up with you to make sure that you don't get hurt when you use this, okay? So that is another kind of tape measure, okay? Say tape measure. Beautiful. Okay, so tell me, how do we bring it in? What do we do with the button? Right, push it and let go. Push it and let go. Perfect. Good job, guys. All right, so, all right, I have one more question for you guys before I let you start measuring your own things, okay? And I want to know how, with all of these different measuring tools, how do you know which one that you should use? Okay, think about it and think about it for a second. Then talk to your neighbor. Tell your neighbor what you think. Good. Okay, who has ideas you want to share with the class? Oh, good. So you think if it's something big, we should use the bigger one? That's a great idea. I like that. What if it's something tiny? Good, so we would just use the ruler. But which side of the ruler would we use for something tiny, tiny? Nice, so if it's smaller than 1 inch, do we still want to use inches? We can use the tinier side. Good job. That is exactly the way we want to do it. Okay, so think about those things when you're measuring your own and you're filling out your papers. Think about which ones are going to be the best ones to use. Okay, so I want you to explore and measure all your things. I'm going to have everyone come up and send your table leader up to grab their bins. Your table leader can come up and grab their bins. Nice. Okay, so then of course the students would be on their own. They would measure all of the things. I would call up one group at a time to come and measure from the doorway to the desk, and I would let them use the tape measure. I would also want them to measure using the yardstick and do it both ways, so they get the idea of having to move the yardstick over and over again to find the right location and to get the right measurement, and to work with their friends, you know, as teamwork in marking the place and moving it and marking the place and moving it. And then at the very end of the class, we want to go over on my paper here. I hand drew it because anyway, so at the very end of my paper, after they've measured everything, at the end of the class, I'm going to ask them to use their rulers and draw a line that is exactly 3 inches long. And I'm doing that to see if they can take what they've learned by measuring the things into converting that over into creating a measurement themselves, to create a line that is measurable and, you know, to kind of reverse engineer the project. And finally, at the very bottom, I have a spot for them to say one thing that I learned today to help me know exactly what they focused on and what they got out of the lesson. So that is my plan, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.